Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Journal. My name is Scotty, and I've decided to do a new series for you guys, which is called the Brogues Who's Next. It's a series of interviews with journalists and podcasters regarding a specific candidate that we here at the Rangers Journal think could potentially go in to do a good job. Enjoy.
Every night is the Rangers Journal night.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Rangers Journal channel. I'm your host, Scott Mackay, and on this episode of the Manager series, we're going to be speaking about Russel Martin. He's an unpopular link amongst the Rangers support, but hopefully to change our mind on that here. I'm delighted to be joined by Martin Sanders. Martin, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm good. Other than a long, hard season in the English Premier League for us, it's not been easy, mate. To be a Southampton fan, I've got to be quite honest. I've seen 2 wins all season. I've been up and down the country. I've missed, I think, 2 games all year, and it's been absolute torture.
I follow Leeds myself. They're my English club, and I read a lot of things at the start of the season about like the Ipswich fans and stuff like that, saying that they actually weren't happy about going up because they feel the Championship's a better league.
Yeah, the Championship's a really good league. Don't get me wrong; it's really competitive. There's a lot of teams in it, and look, there's no VAR, and a lot of English fans enjoy it. I think from my perspective, I want to see my team playing in the top flight here. Like, I don't want to see us playing in the second tier of English football. I want to be playing in the top tier. We weren't one of the founder members of the Premier League, so to see my team drop out of it hurts. I don't want to be playing in the Championship personally. There's a lot more games. The quality's not there. It's a lot slower. The Premier League's quick. It's fast. It's ferocious. You get to play against some of the best players, best managers in the world, best grounds. You want to be at the top, don't you? So to drop down for me is not what I want at all.
Fair enough. So, we'll go into Russel Martin firstly. What's your opinion on him?
Yeah, I'll be totally honest with you. I really like him. I've got a lot of time for Russel Martin. I had the pleasure of meeting him a couple of times down at Southampton when he was here. Right. A couple of events. I went to a kit launch event and Russell was there. I'm a content creator that creates a lot of content around Southampton, so my face is familiar, I guess. I didn't expect him to come over and say hello, which he did. He was very good with the fans. He built rapport with people. He when he came in initially from Swansea, it was a very underwhelming appointment. Like, never got a team promoted. We were looking to go straight back up. The fans were like, oh no, we know what the style of football he wants to play. What he did do in that first summer of being here, it was a big transition because he had a Premier League team being relegated, losing a massive amount of players, trying to recruit cash, and then building a team for the Championship and getting ready for that, which, to be fair, they built a team that was more than capable of doing well in the Championship. And Russell did an evening at St Mary's, actually, where they allowed fans to go in, and he did a presentation on how the team were going to play. And you could ask him questions. It was like a he does it apparently at clubs he goes to. If he ends up at Rangers, would he do that? I don't know. But he did it at Swansea. He did it at MK Dons. And you could basically go and he talks about how they want to play football, and you get a bit of an idea of what he's all about. And look, he's got a set style of football that just about got us out of the Championship. His teams are possession-based, build from the back, a lot of short, sharp passes, sort of like 5 to 10-yard passes, build from the back, from the goalkeeper, and work through the lines. And he doesn't like to force it too much, doesn't like to press too high, likes a mix of pressing but not forcing the game. And look, we played some lovely football during his time at Southampton. We went on an incredible run during the Championship season where we're League and Cup. We went 25 games unbeaten, which was a club record. And during that time, we played some great football, but we let a lot of goals in. We let a lot of goals in last season in the Championship. Way too many to get us automatic promotion, which a lot of fans were disappointed in. And then we go to the Premier League. I think we were all ready for Russell to adapt his style of play. I think we all know that to play a possession-based system in the Premier League with the players and the caliber we had was always going to be very, very difficult. But you also need to recruit the players to be able to do that
Yeah.
at a higher level. We didn't do that.
Right.
And obviously, he come unstuck big time in the Premier League, where the clubs come unstuck for loads and loads of reasons, not just his style of football, the recruitment, the preparation for the Premier League, the ownership, they just weren't ready for it.
See, in terms of Russell Martin's personal growth, do you think he made the step up to Southampton from Swansea? Obviously, he's went from MK Dons to Swansea to Southampton. Do you think that was a kind of natural progression for him? And how do you think he took the challenge to get from there?
Yeah, I think it was a good. I think it was quite a big step for him actually, because the expectation was so big. Certainly, like from Swansea, they're a mid-table. MK Dons did similar mid sort of table side. Southampton, with the squad of players that they got relegated with, there was an expectation that they wanted to go straight back to the Premier League. Leeds were in the same position. They wanted to go straight back to the Premier League. Leicester City as well. Leicester City took a big gamble on Enzo Maresca, who was the understudy to Pep Guardiola at Manchester City. Southampton were very interested in him. He was their top target, from what I'm led to believe. Russell was on that list. Jason Wilcox wanted to play a brand of football, a style of football, and I think he believed that Maresca could bring that, or Russell Martin could. He wanted that caliber of manager. Yeah, they were young and up and coming, but he wanted that brand of football. And they felt that could bring a winning mentality. And to be fair, he took the step really well. I think he handled the press well. I think he handled the fans really well. That it was very broken. That our football club, when he arrived, was very broken. So it was a big job for someone so young, I thought. And he's a young guy, Russell. You know, he's not. He's not even 40 yet. He's younger than me. And he come in, and I just thought, this is a big job for him. Like big ask. Daniel Farker had been there, seen it, and done it with Leeds. It was always going to be a big ask against him. Maresca, not so much so. But I was impressed with a lot that he did. Yeah, he took a lot of criticism during his time here for many things. But no, when he went, I was sad it ended how it did, and I think a lot of us probably wanted him to go, because results were never going to improve with that style of football, and he wasn't prepared to adapt, and he was very stubborn about how he was going about it. But then he just didn't. It was a combination of that and not having the personnel. So put the two together, and it was a perfect storm for disaster. He didn't have the right people in the boardroom. He didn't have the right people around him in the dugout. There was a lot wrong this season, other than just his style of football. There was a lot more to it.
Just sticking with his style of football, Martin, would you say, was he adaptable in terms of when he came into the Premier League? Like, was he building out for the back? Was his style the same? Was he changing his system at all? Changing his formation?
He changed system. So the whole of the Championship campaign, he played with the four at the back. He played with a central striker, which was usually Shea Adams, and he played three. So I play a 4-3-3, so to speak, and you'd have two wider men. Adam Armstrong would play off like the left or the right side, and he'd play maybe Ryan Fraser played. Ryan Fraser would play a bit off the other flank. They come inside, play quite narrow at times. Flynn Downs would play as a pivot in midfield, and then he'd play maybe Will Smallbow one side, Joe Aribo the other side, and Charlie Alcrest played a bit more of a flair player. But yeah, like to play with a four at the back, two full-backs, two centre-backs, with a goalkeeper that was good with the ball at his feet. I didn't necessarily think he had the goalkeeper to play it last season, Bazunu, but it worked well playing that system, and it got us to where it got us to. And then when we got to the end of the season, we were right on the ropes. We were wobbling big time. We were letting a lot of goals in. We lost sloppy at Cardiff away, home to Stoke City. We got beaten 1-0 at home against Stoke, a poor Stoke side. We were well off it, and we went into the final game. But the final game of the season was at Leeds away, and he reverted to a system that he played once against West Bromwich Albion away, and it worked well. He played with a back five, or with three centre backs, but he let one of those centre backs drift into midfield, or the left back would drift into midfield, and then it was quite a hybrid system that he would play. Let the fullbacks play inverted a lot anyway. but with the 5, he made us quite solid, and we looked a little bit harder to beat. And we played West Brom away at the Hawthorns and were really, really good on the night. I can't remember the score. We won. We won 2-0 on the night. We were rampant. And then obviously he didn't use the system again until we played Leeds at Ellen Road. He reverted to it and got us a result there, and we played really well. And we went into the playoffs with the 2 games against West Bromwich Albion, and he kept with it. And it worked really well. We didn't let a goal in against them. In the 2 games, we did. We let 1 go in against them in the second leg. We didn't in the first leg. Second leg, we did let the 1 go in, and then in the playoffs final, we played Leeds. He kept with it, kept with a 5, and he took that into the Premier League as well. I was quite surprised that he went with it, seeing that he liked to play with the inverted fullbacks with the 2 centre backs. So really surprised when he reverted in the Premier League and tried to change the system. The style didn't change at all. Scott still played the same style. He still wanted to build with the goalkeeper. They brought Ramsdale in, and they tried to build inverted fullbacks, but just didn't have the caliber of player at that level where you're pressed so much. Like, it's such an unforgiving league, isn't it?
Aye.
You know, like, you play against the best teams, and they just press the hell out of you. And if you're vulnerable, they pick you off, and that's what happened.
Do you think if he had the right calibre of player, Southampton would still win the Premier League and he would still be your manager?
I think they'd have a far better chance. Yeah, I do. I think we'd have a far better chance. If they recruited better, we bought a goalkeeper in Ramsdale, 20 million. Excellent. Brilliant. We'll now go and buy a midfielder that can play next to Flynn Downs as a really good pivot in a 6. Someone strong, someone physical, someone that knows the division. Go and find a striker and replace Shea Adams, who left for Torino. Go and get a striker, the same calibre, that can score goals, that can hold the ball up, and then build the team. And they didn't. They brought Cameron Archer in to play out front, who's a lightweight midfielder from Sheffield United, got relegated. Ben Brereton Diaz, who played out wide, that's got no pace. They brought him in, total waste of time. Ryan Fraser, bit of a bit part player in the Championship. They brought him in. Leslie Ugochukwu would come along. Just the style of player just was so off and so wrong. The recruitment, and it wasn't all down to him. He had a big say in the recruitment. He was the manager. Him and Darren Mowbray headed it up, so he had a say in it. But they didn't. He had not recruited for the Premier League, nor had Darren Mowbray. So they just didn't. They didn't. I don't think they realised how. He said it on Monday Night Football on Sky Sports. He didn't realise how athletic it was going to be and how physical it was going to be, which surprised me, seeing that he played in that division.
Aye.
They should have known a lot, but a lot. They should have known a lot more about what was required to compete in that division.
How was he with the players? Was he a motivator? Was he a disciplinarian? Was he a wee bit of both? Like, did he have a good rapport with the players, to your knowledge?
Yeah, very good, Scott. Very good rapport with the players. Brilliant rapport with the players. And why I say that, a lot of people on the outside would say that he was too friendly with them.
Right.
You could see him when Flynn Downside he signed in the summer. He was hugging him. There was someone else, I think maybe Ryan Fraser, who was kissing him. Very, very tight-knit group. A lot of people said he brought his friends in. Ryan Manning come in from Swansea. They called him his buddy. I wouldn't say he was his buddy because he dropped him many a time and left him out in big games. But yeah, a lot of people say that from the outside. But I know people that worked under him. I'm not going to name drop, but I know people that worked under him and they really liked him. He was a really good man manager, and he had the dressing room. And even up until the bitter end, he had the dressing room. I think he maybe had an issue trying to convince them the way they were going to play football was going to work. But in terms of him, they loved him. And for a long period of time, the fans loved him as well, until we started losing games of football.
Yeah, that's interesting. What about moving on to kind of player development now? Who would you say in the squad benefited from his managerial style? Who improved most?
Yeah, there was a few that really improved under him for me. I'll say that Shea Adams had a really good season under him, though they didn't get on for a period of time where he was out the side Adams. But I thought he got the best out of Adams. He got the best out of Adam Armstrong. We know he scored 24 goals in the Championship last season. Adam Armstrong did, and he had been pretty blunt in front of goal for Saints for the 2 seasons prior in the Premier League. He'd had a really, really horrific time. And he probably wanted to leave the football club, Adam Armstrong, but Martin kept him. He managed to keep him in, which was brilliant. In terms of like bringing people through, Dibbling, you could say he had the talent already. Just give him the opportunity this year. Did he really improve players? Jan Bednarek, the centre back, I think he improved under him. Definitely improved under him. He was a far better player. Got a bit out of him. Got him on side. I definitely think he's a good motivator. Gets people on side, and he speaks so well in the press. You know, he speaks. You see, Monday Night Football. His philosophy is really good. But I tell you what, the big thing will come out of this for me with Martin. He will have learnt from his time at Southampton, and I actually think he'd come out of it and he'd be a shit-up manager. I really do. I think he's a good manager anyway, but I think he'd go on and have a really good career. I really, really do.
It kind of makes me pull into Rangers then in terms of it's a different environment in terms of there's two teams up here.
Yeah.
They go for the league every season. It's a pressure cauldron. You can't if a draw's a disaster and a defeat's the end of the world. How do you think he would handle the pressure should they get the job?
Yeah, I thought he handled the playoffs really well. And I was a little bit worried about him going into playoffs, I'll be honest, because that's massive. Massive for us because it meant so much. You know, we just missed out on
£45 million game, innit?
Yeah, we missed out on the autos. And we fell short because we let too many goals in, probably because of the way he was trying to play football. So he's criticised. He was blamed for not making autos because of his style of football. However, he gets to the playoffs and he dealt with it really well. And I thought at Wembley, I thought he was magnificent. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. I thought he handled the day really well. His lineup, everybody would have picked his team that day. The way he set us up and the way the players played for him, I thought was really good. But it's totally different. You go to Scotland, it's like you say, it is a cauldron, it's a pressure cooker, two massive teams, massive expectation. He's obviously played there, so he'd understand it. I actually think he'd deal with it all right, to be fair. I think his style of football, he'd have to be very... I think he has to find a plan B. You know, he's criticised for not having a plan B here. I don't think you can start playing tippy-tap, possession-based football in a cup final, so to speak, like that, in front of your home supporters, where it means so much to so many people. Rangers is a huge football club, so the pressure would be massive on him. Would be massive. He's young, but I think he's I think he'd handle it. I do think he'd handle it. But you need a plan B. The way you're going to play football.
Aye, that kind of brings me on to another question. See, in terms of his style of play, we play against two banks of 11 players most weeks. It's just the way it is. We've had managers recently, i.e. Michael Beale, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, Philippe Clement, who have all played the ball at times slow along the back line. And Celtic do it under Brendan Rodgers as well.
Yeah, they do.
Would Russell Martin's style of play break down a low block? If in your experience, did you ever see Southampton coming up against a really, really defensive unit that they had to break down and did manage it?
Yeah, we had some tough games against sides that sat deep and played low blocks. A lot of sides did that at St Mary's last season. Rotherham United got relegated. They did it at St Mary's and got a draw early on in the season against us, which was the fans were fuming about, absolutely fuming about. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, the games Stoke at home did the same. Middlesbrough at home did the same. They put low blocks. And we did find it hard to break them down. There's no doubt about it. We pass. We try and progress. Usually, our quality would see us through because we'd have a little glimpse of class that would get us over the line. But I tell you what, we had some really, really tough times. And maybe that was the reason why we missed out on the automatic promotion. So we weren't quick enough out the block sometimes. Fast. Got amongst teams. Pulled a team onto us and got in behind them. It was... a lot of fans didn't like the style of football. You know, I didn't particularly enjoy it all the time. When we were good, we were good. But when we were bad and you're off it, it can cause loads of problems. Loads of problems because you end up passing it for the sake of it and going absolutely nowhere.
What was his set pieces like?
Yeah, we've been poor from set play for a while. We let a lot in from set play. Defensively weren't good enough last season from corners. Did we score enough from corners? Yeah, we did okay. I remember a game we scored late on against Birmingham City away. That was from set play. We scored a bit from set play, but defensively really poor. And that's continued into this season. He never had a set piece coach late on last season and into this season. They had a gentleman that went to Man United sort of back end of last season. It was very, very good. So yeah, set play, I'll be honest, we weren't great from.
All right, okay. What was it like on the touchline? Did they get a crowd going? Was he a motivator?
Yeah.
Aye.
He's a well-dressed manager, chinos, trainers, and always has a nice hoodie or jumper on. You know, he's well-dressed, never wears it. He's not a tracksuit manager or a suit manager, you know, a casual modern-day manager, but has a lot to say. Very, very animated, spends all his time in his technical area. Usually berates the fourth official a fair bit. I know one fourth official, I won't name his name, but lives quite locally to me. And he said, "Oh no, not Southampton again," and Russel Martin, because he knows that he'd take an absolute hiding off him. But yeah, no, he does give the officials a lot of stick. To be fair, he's got a lot to say. Yeah, he's prickly at times when it doesn't go right. I watched every single press conference that he had in his period at Southampton. I watched every one, and when he's under pressure and things aren't going right, he's really, really prickly. There's a journalist down here, and he won't mind me saying his name, Adam Blackmore. He's the big BBC correspondent for the radio here, and they're one of those relationships where the way he bit at him a few times, and he just have him a few times. I mean, there's just that little bit of banter between them, but you never knew if Russell was being serious or not. Do you know what I mean? He was just that.
Aye.
He was prickly when things weren't going right.
Do you think he had an aura about him when he went into the changing room? Do you think the players respected him? That's quite big up here at Rangers that we feel with the standards of the club that the manager's got to walk in and everybody shows immediate respect. They sit down, they shut up, kind of thing. Has he got that about him?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I think here he had real respect to the players, and the minute he turned up from his first press conference, I think he got the fans on board very quickly. And the players responded to him in pre-season, and the people that come out and spoke were always very, very complimentary about him player-wise. Like Flynn Downs come down from West Ham on loan, played under him at Swansea, complimentary, spoke about him a lot. Yeah, the players praised him a lot. You know, not every player would have gone with him. You know, they're not every player. You know, you're not going to please everyone, but the majority of noise around him was always very good. Was always very good. Yeah, I think he had a bit of an aura around him for sure. Whether he had the aura of a top top-manager, maybe that had managed at the highest level. You talk about Steven Gerrard like we did off camera. You know, he's got to have that aura about him because of the level of football he played at, what he won as a player. I think he maybe in a slightly different mold to Russell, but I think Russell's really worked from the ground upwards. And his story actually is quite an interesting story if you get an opportunity to research it. What he went through as a kid and how he made it as a footballer, because he wasn't the greatest footballer ever. I think his dad he had issues with his dad as a kid growing up. There's some really good stories on YouTube about it. I thought the interview that he did with Gary Lineker on Gary Lineker's podcast a couple of weeks ago was really good. And if you're a Rangers fan and you want to hear more about him, I'd go watch it 100% because it gives you a really good insight into Russell Martin.
Still ask a couple of questions, Martin. But what's the biggest strength that Russell Martin's got if he was to take the Rangers job?
The biggest strength he's got?
Yeah.
Uniting people and bringing people together. If you need to unite a fan base and bring the players closer to the fans and to connect with people, I think that's his biggest strength. He's a real good man manager. He gets to know the local people. Like, he didn't need to even know my name, but he knew my name when he saw me. Like, I'm just a content creator with 10,000 followers on TikTok. Minute in the grand scheme of things. But he made that point of knowing your name. He knew the people around the club that he probably needs to get on side. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because like a content creator that can have a big influence in some clubs when you've got 50, 60, 70,000 followers all of a sudden, you become a viral creator. You need everyone on board. You need the local journalist on board. And I think he did that fairly well. I think that's really important. I think that's really important at any football club.
Who would be your biggest concern if he got the job?
The style of football and the pressure of those big games against Celtic, dealing with those, and his style of football getting picked off in the biggest games, and letting in sloppy goals that you shouldn't let in. I think that's the biggest thing for me, would be making sure he's back with the right players to execute what he wants to execute. But I think he will be a slightly different manager next time round. He would have learned from here and what happened here. I really do. And I think he'd be a better man for it. I think in life you go through jobs, don't you? And you have a job, and I've just finished my latest job. But I've learned so much in that time. A lot of things I wouldn't do again. Things I'd do differently. I think you have that time where you just reflect. And I think he came out and said it on Lineker's podcast. He had that downtime afterwards. He said he got really ill, had the flu really bad. Exactly the same happened to me. I finished my job I'd done for 10 years. I stopped and I got really ill. In fact, sick. I was in bed for days. I ached from head to toe. And then you just reflect. You reflect and then you go again. But I think the next time you go again, you'll go again and you'll be so much better next time round. And I do believe he'd be a far better manager next time round. Whether that's at Rangers or not, I don't know. It's a big ask to go there. I really think it is a big job.
How's Joe Aribo getting on? He's better be looking after him.
Joe Aribo, he's had a really tough time here. He's played 100 games for Southampton since he's been here.
I see he played centre back one of the games under the...
Mate, he's played some bizarre positions. He's never really set the world alight. He scored a wonderful goal in pre-season in the year we signed him under Ralph Hasenhüttl. Played a few games, scored a couple of goals. You thought, he looks a bit of a player. And then we changed manager, and he was in and out of the side under Jones and didn't play a lot under Sellés. Stayed with us in the Championship, and he went off to the African Cup of Nations and missed a period of time under Russell, and then missed a chunk. And then we had some injuries. I think Will Smallbone was injured, and he come into midfield and actually he did all right. Worked really hard because I found him. I thought he was a bit lazy at times. I thought, come on, Joe, you need to run a bit now. We need some effort. We need to get around the park. But he's not a runner. He's like a real luxury player, and he's not been able to do it in the Premier League. In all honesty, he'd go in the summer. I think he will go, but I've enjoyed him. But I think value for money. They'd probably done well for what they paid for him. What did we pay for him in the end?
6 million or something.
6 million. Good value for 6 million. In all honesty.
Fair enough. Well, do you want to tell the viewers where they can find you, Martin? Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for having me on. It's been an absolute pleasure. Great club, Rangers, my Scottish club, without any question. My dad, as a kid growing up, as a kid growing up, my dad would often have Rangers shirts. We had a sports shop, so those Adidas vintage shirts, absolutely loved them. You can find me at @footballmartin_ on YouTube, TikTok, all the social media platforms. I create content around Southampton. I do a lot of fan cams, match day vlogs. And one of my ambitions is actually to come to Scotland, because I've never, ever in my life been to Scotland. And I really, really want to come and do a Rangers game. I want to come to Rangers and do a match day vlog at some stage. So it is on the bucket list, and I will do it at some stage because I want to go to Ibrox, just because it's my dad's Scottish team, and massive love for it.
I will give us a message when you head up, and we'll meet.
I will. Absolutely, I love that. Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Right, everybody, that's the next episode. That's Russel Martin done now, and we'll see you again soon. Take care. Cheers.